Chris, Cade Smith, looked like he gave it just an outstanding effort today. What did you see from him?
3 pitches for strikes and just really commanded the zone. I think he threw all 3 in there, and he's been really good for us here in the spring training. He's got a great arm and compete. I thought, he got close to pitch count there late, and you almost hate running a guy out when you put up a 7 spot. It's just a long time there from the 5th to the 6th, but I thought he was great.
He hit the first batter and then came back. He only threw 7 more pitches, I think, the rest of that inning. And he was so efficient with that pitch count for the next 2 or 3 innings. How'd you feel like he recovered from that first pitch he threw?
I guess he was excited, just excited getting out there. But he had real command after that pitch for the most part. And then in the last inning, probably got it a little bit. I think he walked the guy in that inning, but he was good. Just all 3. I thought all day long he was good.
What did you think of see from him, like throughout the fall and whatnot, to kind of that made you really think like, okay, like he's good to go to be our, our weekend guy?
He's got swing and miss stuff. So there's just a lot of swing and miss in there. And there's 3 pitches. He can really pitch off of all 3. So, in our league, the lefties are, what you're always worried about. So I thought he did a nice job.
It's just one weekend, but it looks like you got a little clarity maybe in center field and then maybe some intrigue in right field. How would you kind of characterize the outfield?
Now, we're still figuring ourselves out. I'm sitting there, almost drew a lineup out of the hat today. It's just trying to figure out our new guys and our order, trying to figure out that. I thought Cam did a great job at the leadoff, getting us going. And in the outfields, it's competitive. There's a lot of competition out there right now. So, as some guys played really well last year, it's a new year. So you gotta play well now. And so we got good players. They all kind of go like this. They go up and down a little bit. So we gotta get some going and keep some hot.
You think Cameron James can lock down that leadoff spot?
I don't know if I want him to lock down the leadoff spot. He's such a good RBI guy. But right now, I think he did the job for us today, just as a veteran, and went out there and gave us just some tough at-bats. Even in the at-bat he got out, just, competing. So I thought he was really good today.
And the flip side of that is you send RJ to 5 spot and he reaches base the first 3 times. Did you feel like he was just more relaxed, or how would you?
That was the whole reason. The dude effect is great, but if you haven't ever played here, you got to get used to being out there and running him out there the first at bat of every game. I think it gave him a little time to relax and see somebody and figure it out. And I kind of left my starters in probably a little longer just so they could play with it being a little bit relaxed, because it's it takes a little bit getting used to.
What did you think of Drew today, coming off the bench, going 2 for 2?
Drew was really good. So he's probably one of our best defenders in the outfield, and just, he's probably not running too many balls out of the ballpark. Don't tell him I said that, but he competes. He just competes. He just grinds, and that's what we needed.
You mentioned not having too many balls out of the ballpark. that 7 spot was like all singles. Is that kind of what you're hoping to see, just like production?
No, I think we have real power. I think you tip your hat to Long Beach State. I think they were really good on the mound all weekend for the most part. They pitch backwards, and they 3-2. I think the 3-2 count was like 90% off speed. There's not many teams that do that. So you're not sitting on a lot of balls to drive against them, which makes it tough.
What did you think of
hitting field, just finally stringing some hits together?
It was good, just to have some separation, to play and not feel like everything's so tight. It's just it was good to see some of our guys have big swings. Hunter Hines, he's a very talented young kid, and batting in the 4-hole for us right off the bat. But that was a huge hit. He's walking to the plate, and I just said, hey, act like you're playing MRA. It's just, this kid was playing high school baseball just a couple months ago, and now he's in the middle of that. So seeing some of those kids get big hits and big moments, I think will get us going here.
Were you kind of able to exhale a little bit? You guys exploding at the plate today, and you had 6 more hits today than you did the first 2 games combined. As a coach, were you kind of able to exhale a little bit today?
A little bit.
Seeing your guys kind of, really show.
I think so. Just being able to, get some other guys out there too, I think was huge. Being able to have some gap in the game to let some guys, some new guys go out there. Brooks Auger go out there and pitch, and Mikey Tepper, who's a little bit behind some of our other guys, to be able to go out there and pitch. So I think it was good.
With RJ, when you were looking at him as a transfer, what did you kind of like about him as a shortstop, and what did you think he could add to this lineup?
Oh, we were looking for an extra infielder and a guy that could hit a little bit. He, just his numbers last year were really good, and just everybody we called about him just raved about him. And one thing people don't know, and you don't know RJ well now, but a real dude, a ball player. He's got a lot of just old school ball player in him, which I like a lot.
What did you think of Porter's approach today at the plate, and how much you kind of think that first home run maybe a little bit of a spark in the offense today?
Oh, I think it was huge for everybody. Matt Corder's a really good player. He missed the entire fall because he had shoulder surgery, so we just didn't have him. So, but he played last summer, played great last summer, was a top prospect in his league, and can do a lot. He can play infield, he pitched in JUCO. I mean, just he can do a little bit of everything. So, I was kind of surprised the ball left the yard, but it was, there were some other really good at-bats in there. He can just do a lot. And he's same thing, just tough, just a tough kid.
You have a lot
Skipper
of
too. How big is it to get some of those other guys in, and then they produce, which number one rewards them and keeps the clubhouse happy, but also kind of keeps maybe a little competitive pressure on some guys so they can't coast.
Oh, we need it. We need the competitive side, and we've talked about that. If you when it's your turn, you need to play well. You don't always have to get a hit, but just being able to play the game well and bring the right mindset every day, because we're nowhere near finalizing a lineup or a rotation or anything like that. There's just too much competition, and our guys have to, they're going to have to really, keep going, because there's just, a lot of that competition is not in the other dugout, it's in our dugout. So it should make your team better.
You mentioned the expectations that are already here, and you had the national championship. You got these guys returning. I'm sure they filled those expectations. And then you talk about guys like Hunter Hines that are playing here for the first time. How big was it to just get this first one under your belt?
I mean, we had to get one today. I mean, I felt like that was a big one. And, on a weekend like this, you'd be happy with 2 out of 3. We only get 1 out of 3, and we'll have to make it up down the road somewhere. But getting the one today, it showed a lot of toughness in our team. Because, man, when you open this park and all these people come and you don't play well, it can make you play a little tight. And I thought our kids came out and played tough and played relaxed for the most part.
You
What's
guys
your
said
biggest
the
takeaway from this season, from this series, when kind of like you look back on it, like what was the biggest thing?
I don't know. We're just trying to figure ourselves out. Like I told the kids, from week 1 to week 2 in a baseball season is kind of your biggest improvement week. What do we need to work on? What do we need to do? Where does, certain guys, some guys are, when the lights are on, they play a little better. Some guys play a little tight. So trying just to evaluate the masses of everybody and see where we're at and try to figure out, what's the best team for us to win.
what's it mean for you to kind of see Mississippi State set the opening weekend record with the crowd attendance, and on top of that, you mentioned expectations. How do you kind of teach a young player like a Hunter Hines kind of manage that and see all the people that come out and watch it and not be overwhelmed by that?
Well, I just think it takes time. I think it probably took a lot of time for Jake Mangum or Tanner Allen or those old guys in the past, and these guys just need to get out there and play in it, and you get used to it, and you can get them, because even Hunter Hines is probably in a gear too fast right now. He needs to slow it down a little bit, because all our kids and even our older returning kids just jumping back out there, and that it's just a little different than practice, and so we're lucky to have it, but it's I think our kids going out there and playing the way they did today, that'll help them out a lot in the long run.
Might be a little premature, but pitching options for Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I know it, but I'm not gonna check with my pitching coach first. So we'll give it to you soon. Probably Fristo or Pico. One of those two, and you'll see a lot of those too. We were gonna use them today in a close game, but now that we when it got blown open, we let all the relievers go and let those guys get out there and get some innings. I don't know what time that game's gonna be yet though, so we're trying to find a gap in the day. So we need to play, and that's our only option this week to play. So.
Is it like a weather problem? Because I think I saw it's like 3. The forecast is bad, probably. Right?
Yeah, the forecast is bad. So, and they're coming here straight from New Orleans. So